Good morning and welcome to Sew Like a Pro Quilters Edition. I've been recently, since COVID, learning how to quilt, and I always go to the library and I looked, and this inspired me. Now this is the striped fabric, all these different colors, and she called it handkerchief corners. So I attempted it. I don't know where I'm going to find all those striped fabrics, so this is what I did. Here's my rendition of what she did, and I created my own striped fabrics, and then I made the squares in different sizes. So somebody wants to know how to do that at the library on yesterday. So you want to take and decide what size you want the squares to finish, because it really actually is a square just turned on a 45 to look like they all on an angle, but they just laid out on an angle. So here's some fabrics I stitched together. I decided I want my squares to finish like 5.5 inches, so I have 3 cuts of fabric, repiecing these together to create a stripe. 1.5 inches wide. Stitch the 3 together, dry press the seams open. Then if I want my square to be 6 inches, and when I finish stitching it together, it's going to be 5.5 inches. So my insert here for this size one would be 3 inches. So I'd finish with a 6-inch square. So I have a sample here. We want to take and make the length, fold them in half, and we're going to make pairs. That's the only way we're going to get these two to match this seam, and then we're going to insert the square. So I'm going to take this. I want it to finish 6 inches, so I'm going to use the guide on my mat. And I'm going to count 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I line it up at 6, then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to add my seam allowance, my 1/4 inch seam allowance, right off of my 45-degree angle. So I give my seam allowance, and then I'm going to cut it. So I'm including my seam allowance. I cut this off, and if we take this and pin it together, we can check and make sure the width of our square, our insert. So I had these pressed, all going outward. You're gonna have to shift one of them and make them get pressed the other way so they can bump up against each other. So once I open this up, look, there we go. We had the first part. We had this part. Now we need to insert. So you need to stitch away 1/4 inch. So you can't stitch this all the way to the end. We start right here at 1/4 inch because we have to insert that square. And how we do that is going to take this square 3 inches, and we're going to match these two together. So this is like very precise. We line these two up together. Going to stitch all the way to the 1/4 inch, pivot, turn, and stitch down the other side, and it's going to match perfect. And if it don't, you did something wrong, because you should be able to open it up and it lays completely flat. So this is very meticulous. This is the only way you get these to work perfect. So if you don't want to do it where you add the insert, then you make the stripes as wide as you want them to finish. So I added on this as many 1.5 inches that I needed to get to my 6-inch square. You see that? 6 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1.5 inches. Stitch them together. Flip them just like I did before, but now this is wider. Add the 1/4 inch. Cut it on a 45. And then when you sew them together, press the seams open. And then I just alternate them so I didn't waste fabric. You got to figure out which way you want your pattern to lay. When this is finished, you will have 5.5 inches just like this. Except for now, we don't have to add this piece in there. And we get a similar result. So then when we take these and line them up, and continue and continue and continue, we're going to get the exact same effect. So you can use any colors, multiple colors, whichever way you decide to do it. You can do 3 stripes, 2 stripes, whichever way you decide to do it. So if you want to see exactly how to sew the miter corner or pivot at a corner, I had the tutorial up. You're just going to have to look it up. It is in the list. So may God bless all your knitting, sewing, crocheting, and quilting projects. Till we meet again. God bless you.